Hello, everybody. Welcome to Trikes and Tractors. This morning, I'm on my way to the post office. But anyway, I used to commute to work. I commuted to work every day when I worked at the bike shop. When I would ride to work, I would leave early and I'd go ride around town, and then as it got closer to time for me to be to work, which usually was about 10 o'clock, I would start heading toward the shop, and I'd get there a few minutes early. But anyway, I used to commute there, and I had a system. I put my lunch on lunch, and I had my panniers, and I put my lunch in there, my shoes in there, and everything. I had a system that I had worked out. I always made my lunch the night before because I wanted to have it ready. So all I had to do was store it in my lunchbox, And so anyway, I was nice commute to work, and then on the way home, one way would be 15 minutes, depending on if I went what I call the short way, or if I went the long way home, it was about 20 minutes getting home. So anyway, I could ride two different ways. It was nice to be able to kind of unwind. Anyway, I used to enjoy riding, and if you live close to trails or whatever, you can ride to work, or if you have a way to get to work and safely, you can ride on side streets, if you don't live far from where you work, and if you're not afraid to ride on the road. I really enjoyed doing so, riding to work and being able to, and be in the sunshine and the fresh air and all that stuff. That was nice. It was great. And so anyway, you got to consider some things. How long does it take you to get to work? What time do you need to leave to get to work on time? Is it got a lot of hills between your house and work, or is it rather flat? And so you got to consider that. And can you take your lunch, or what do you need to do about that? And do you need to take a change of clothes, or are you just going to wear what you're working in to work? So there's a lot of variables, but it is nice to ride to work and get exercise and everything on the way to work. Anyway, is it feasible for you to ride to work? Do you need to bring a patch kit? Do you need to bring tools in case you need them while you're riding? Do you have a link of chain? So you know how to fix the chain if it comes apart, or do you have a master link to put it back together? If that's those things. You might want to consider that too, because you want to also have some tools and a patch kit to fix a tire if you have a flat, and you need to know probably how to do that if you're going to commute back and forth to work. Been prepared if I needed to be for changing a tire or whatever. And so I try to be prepared anyway, so that I'm ready for something if that happens, unless it's just something that I can't fix. I don't have the part for, like a derailleur screws up or something like that. But for the most part, I have tools to fix things. But anyway, those are things you need to consider if you're going to ride back and forth to work. Because like I said, I used to between March and October. Oh my gosh, that was good, Sherry. Anyway, is that something that you can do? You need to let your husband, wife, whatever, know which way you're going, so they'll know which way you rode to work or you're coming home from work. Now, on my Garmin, there is a beacon. Actually, it's on my, well, I guess it's our Garmin and Strava both. I have a beacon that would tell my husband when I started and which way I went home, whether it was the long way or the short way, you know. And I have come home at night, and it looks like it's going to rain on me, so I rode the short route, which is about 15 minutes, and so that's something you need to consider. Do you need rain gear? You know, are you going to have a raincoat, rain pants in case it rains, you get wet? You know, in case that happens while you're, you know, going home or going to work or whatever. I mean, not everybody wants to ride in the rain, you know, but if you have the proper gear, you can. Now, if you have a motor, I don't know about that, because I don't know if that would even be, you know, doable, but I don't know how waterproof they all are. I know they may be a little, but I'm not sure just exactly how waterproof, you know. Anyway, what is your fitness level? Are you able to ride however far it is to your work? Are you able to do that day in and day out? Are you able to, what the heck is in my wheel? Keep lights on your trike and do regular maintenance on your trike to make sure, or bike, whichever, and make sure that it is tuned up regularly. Make sure that when you go to work you don't have any problems. You know, if you do regular maintenance on it, it should be fine. You know, there might be an occasional, you know, flat tire or something, but if you keep it in good shape, good chain, good tires, you shouldn't have too much problem, you know, with it breaking down while you're on your way to work or back home, whichever. I didn't have any problem, and I've been fairly lucky. I've only had, so far, thankfully, I've only had 2 flats in about 10 years, which is good. But, you know, do regular maintenance on it. And also, something else, now there's kind of a big debate about this. You want somebody to get aggravated. But wear a helmet, no matter whether you're on the trail, whether you're riding on the road, or whatever. Something crazy can happen, and you can end up getting hurt, and you don't want to do that. You know, ride safely. But like I said, wear a helmet, protect your head, and even if you don't want to, wear one anyway. Remember your spouse or your kids or whatever, because you want to be sure and you know, come home to them. You know, barring anything crazy happening, you want to be sure and come home to your family each night.